Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Psychosin project here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album from the Canadian mad bastard himself, the mad professor known as Devin Townsend. His new album, Empath. Not sure how well that's coming out on the camera, but anyway, this is the 2-disc special edition, which is really rather lovely. That you got that, and then that is the inside. Which probably looks amazing if this come out on a vinyl, this version. But anyway, I've got a couple of confessions before I start this review. One is, for those who may not know, I am a huge Devin Townsend fan. I got into him back in about 2000, 2001 through Strapping Young Lad, who I was lucky enough to see twice, who were absolutely awesome. I've seen Devin Townsend live, strangely enough supporting himself in 2003. The best way I can describe that is basically it was Zimmer's whole opening, then Devin Townsend doing his solo thing, and then Strapping Young Lad headlining, which is Devin Townsend again. And also, obviously, I got the Strapping Young Lad logo kind of tattooed on me. So take this review as you are, as you will, as someone who is a big Devin Townsend fan. However, I will also confess another thing. When it comes to the last two albums, Epic Cloud and Transcendence, I liked them, don't get me wrong, but they didn't quite have that kind of X factor that made me love Devin Townsend's solo progressive stuff originally. As good as those albums were, they just seemed to be missing something for me. And when the first single for this album came out, which was called Genesis, on a first listen, I weren't massively impressed, to be perfectly honest, but I gave it a few more listens. It grew on me, and so we should come into the album itself. Now, this is a 2-disc edition I've got here. I am only reviewing the 1 disc because it's the main one that everyone's going to have listened to, the album itself. The second disc is full of demos, as happened with the Transcendence special edition as well. So we kick things off with Castaway, which is kind of a nice intro track that goes into Genesis itself. In fact, you hear a little bit of Castaway during the beginning of the Genesis music video. Now, as I said originally, this song didn't do much for me when I first heard it, but over time it has grown on me quite a lot, in fact. Still wouldn't say it's one of the best songs in the world for me personally, but it's quite a good primer actually for the rest of this album, because this album, how can I describe it, is very much an album of Devin taking all the rules of music, screwing them up, throwing them in the bin, and creating his own idea of it, as he has done for many years. But even more so on this album. I mean, if he wants to put banjo in there, there'll be a banjo on the song. If he wants to go a little bit country and western, there'll be a bit of country and western. If he wants to put little random video games sounds in the middle of the song, he'll do that. I mean, Genesis itself has like cats meowing near the end of it, you know. So yeah, basically this is one massive kind of sound collage being boiled down into some awesome progressive songs. And if you've never heard Devin Townsend before, I can't really describe it, because there's no one else in progressive metal or rock that sounds anything like him. He has his own unique sound and sort of unique approach to putting the songs together. Anyway, as the album goes on, you get more of those sounds coming in, and sort of adding to this massive sound clash, as it were. Now, there is some guest vocalists on this, as you may have heard about. You have got Anneke van Giersbergen, who Devin has worked with many times. Cher de Waal, who was also part of the Casualties of Cool project as well, which is another thing I fully recommend if you want something a little bit softer. And probably the most worrying for a lot of people is Chad Kroeger of Nickelback is listed as a guest vocalist on here. He's on the track Hear Me. Now, ironically enough, for a track called Hear Me, I couldn't hear him at all. I couldn't really pick him out as one of the vocalists. Admittedly, Anneke van Giersbergen is on there as well, but yeah, I could not hear Chad Kroeger, so, you know, that's possibly a good thing, I don't know. But Hear Me is definitely the heaviest song you will ever hear Chad Kroeger on, I'll have to say that, unless he brings out some kind of death metal or black metal album, which I can't see happening because the guy likes money. Anyway, as I say, the sounds are all different. You've got a little bit of hippie rock stuff, which Devin has delved into every now and again. You've got straightforward, well, not straightforward, but you've got the metal stuff, the heavier stuff, usually within the same song, to be honest with you. The songs do go through many tonal shifts, as it were, many styles. And then you've got the song Why. Now, Hear Me, the song with Chad Kroeger on it, is the heaviest song on the album, I think it has to be said. But then you go into the song Why after it. And Why is, how can I put it, kind of what would happen if Devin Townsend was allowed to write music for a Disney film. Yeah, like a Disney musical. That's kind of the best way I can describe the song Why. And yet, it works. I don't know why it works. As someone who can't generally stand Disney, well, the main Disney stuff, the MCU, obviously, everyone loves, but as someone who can't generally stand Disney's lovey-dovey crap, hearing one of those songs, and generally, as someone who can't stand musicals for the most part, yeah, it kind of doesn't quite stand out as much of a sore thumb as you think it would be. Then you have Requiem that goes into Singularity. Now, before I go into Singularity, I will let you know this is probably the longest album Devin Townsend's ever made, or ever released anyway. It's 74 minutes long. And the lion's share of that is taken up by the six movement last song, Singularity, which on the CD version is broken up into 6 tracks, but all the songs flow into each other, so you know it is all meant to be one long piece, which is about good 20-22 minutes long. And again, this might be one of the longest songs Devin's ever actually released. But yeah, Singularity this is where I have a bit of a sticking point. It's a full-on prog mode, there's nothing wrong with that. They have moments of clarity and heaviness and all that, but there's just one or two little moments during this song that kind of make it go into slight background noise before another thing comes in and snaps you back into listening to the song again. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Your mileage may vary. But to come back to my original point of me not particularly being a massive fan of Transcendence or the album before Transcendence, Epic Cloud, this one I've got into a lot more, and this is on one listen, and there's so many layers and sounds to this album and the songs on it that it demands repeated listens. So all in all, Devin Townsend's Empath album, if you like your proggy stuff and you aren't going to rage that it's not all just pure metal and it has all these other influences and sounds in it, you're going to love it. You are absolutely going to love it. Just make sure you've got the time to give it with the repeated listens it will need. So it gets 4.5 out of 5 from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Drawn towards the flame, I turn to